Okay, folks, we here in western North Carolina, we have a serious problem. This here is Bryson City as it normally looks. The Saturday before this tidbit of an episode was introduced, Bryson City looked like this. Yes, my town, my home base, was flooded. Let me show you a few shots I took around town of the flood. Now, it flooded on both sides of that bridge, but it was worse on the north side. The water came all the way to the post office region right here. Now, the next town over, Silva, it was also evident. Not only was the road here flooded, as I had to turn around, but so were some properties over here. It too had its share of flooding. The Tuckasegee River, which came down the next day as quick as it went up, was more lenient towards us. 70 miles away in Asheville, the rivers there, they were not even close to being that kind. There are no words that can truly describe what they did. Swannanoa, a town that I kind of knew, situated on this river here, the Swannanoa River, has been obliterated. Yes, the river. It often does look like this, calm and serene. This stretch here, it is not far from this stretch. For now, though, let's zoom in to this area here. Let's turn it around a bit for a better perspective. This building circled here is the same as the one circled here. Notice the river with the trees giving it a kind of nice setting. Just look at it here. It left the road in mud, the buildings in ruins, and stripped just about everything from its banks. As for personal footage, I left the Asheville area prior to the storm. I have been involved in river conservation in the past, and I know what rivers are capable of. I also know of the flood of 1916, so I just left. So I have to use photos. Still, Asheville, yes, as I said, it is such a lifeline to me, and now that lifeline, it has been severed. Not sure of when I can go back. So, what about further down the Swannanoa River? This here is where Tunnel Road meets Swannanoa River Road. Do I know this area all too well? Walmart. It is actually built in a bad location, right around where a river bends. It was not spared, as this video proves. The same happened with the Ingalls Distribution Center, a lifeline to a large supermarket chain. It was not spared. And as stated before, the town of Swannanoa. Well, look what that river did. You know, I know these places. I was in or around this area just last week. Everything seemed fine. I used to work for a rafting company for many years, and I always enjoyed being on the river, and one of my favorite to be on is the Nolichucky. A beautiful river, it flows through Irwin in Tennessee, as this map clearly shows. Here is Unicoi County Hospital, which, for some bizarre reason, has been built right on a floodplain, right in the middle of a meander, no less. Moving down here, we have an industrial park, home of Impact Plastics. Now, the town of Irwin is situated on a floodplain. This whole area is a floodplain. Notice on the banks, there is no room for the river to spread out in a time of flood. Of course, all of that pavement, it just sends water right into the river at a rapid pace. That makes the river faster, worsening the flooding. It may even be worse here, as the mountain on the west shifts any flood that will occur fully to the east, right into a development. That is exactly what happened to a number of Impact Plastics employees who were swept away. Now, some articles appear to say this. However, it is becoming more clear that the workers were told not to evacuate. If that is true, the owner of the place should be tried for manslaughter. Yes, it does appear the Nolichucky went on to take down this bridge. Then, we find the river submerging the Unicoi County Hospital, almost to the roof. Yes, this is the same hospital as shown earlier here in this map image. You know, it takes kind of a certain mindset to even think of putting a hospital in such a sensitive area. I don't know. Then, back in North Carolina, there is this river called simply the Broad River. No, it's not the French Broad. That is another river. In fact, it's not even in the same watershed. It is the river that flows through Chimney Rock. Beautiful, isn't it? Well, that may be, but what it did to Chimney Rock was anything but. The village was just about obliterated, and, you know, I had planned on going to this village to document its history in the nearby state park at some point next year. And now this. I mean, there is just about nothing left. This is just far too difficult to imagine for most. Just imagine this beautiful river here, managing to turn this town into this. The Broad River, it had to have so much power to erode so deeply into its banks like this. Scenes like this are just cataclysmic. The erosion was so intense that buildings just fell into the river. You know, what this river is doing is shaping the land. We are seeing right here in North Carolina forces that shape the Grand Canyon. Of course, you could read these articles at your own leisure. They are worth, in fact, they should be read. Now, this here, it is the historic Biltmore Village. As historic as it may be, it did still get inundated. Now, we must move on to the French Broad, which is actually one of my more favorite rivers, and it's just heartbreaking to see what it did. I, on occasion, sit in this park to edit videos. In fact, I was there just more recently shooting extra footage for one of those Buncombe County Castle videos. Now, the French Broad River, it is so close to this, the River Arts District, which was just about completely flooded. I think we need to rethink what floodplains are and how they work. I'm not saying we should never build on them, but the room a river needs to spread out needs to be in proportion with how much land is developed. There are also things like parks, retention ponds, porous material for pavement, raising buildings higher, and more. We ought to be working with our rivers, not against them. You know, though, I have looked at websites of these places previously mentioned, of actual stores that hold events that will never happen, or of how great a river they may have in the distance. Now, many people here, they have lost everything, with some even their lives. As a result, likely, many do not want to even look at it, despite it being one of the world's oldest rivers. The French Broad, that is. This is just so devastating. I mean, words cannot even describe it. Reports are saying over 400 roads have been destroyed, and there is no timeline of when they will reopen. Personally, I'm a bit terrified that time frame may not be able to be measured in days or even weeks. Many now are saying it could be months. Overall, still, I do love this area. I moved up here in 2007 to be among its mountains and among its rivers. And I still do. I am certainly not going to let Helene destroy that. I was aware that something like this could happen one day. It happened in 1916. And with climate change and so much ill-advised development, I have kind of always speculated we could be in for something catastrophic. I just hoped I would never see it. Well, I did. All of us here did. I had recently gone to Highlands a few days after the storm. I did grab footage of 2 of the waterfalls, but I turned around. I just felt awkward even thinking about shooting a video at this point. I did not want to get in the way of any cleanup efforts and other post-Helene work, so the 2 waterfalls you are now seeing were outside of any immediate area. Just notice how much water this one is throwing over. I am not sure when this channel will be back up, maybe in December. And I might also begin work on another project, not sure yet. If I do, likely this channel will not be featuring the same kind of stuff. If not, I will be back, but it might not be until the new year. So, for the time being, this is going to be my last official video for a few months. That includes editing older videos and whatnot as well. I have been out of work for a bit of time, and I need to find a way to get some money somewhat quickly. All of this, though, it's just too devastating. There will be this one exception, though. Maybe in November, not sure. I will be redoing Marshall. That is an episode already done, albeit a bit lengthy. I want to do this one, as this is a town that has been virtually destroyed. And like with others, I knew what the river could do, but still had trouble processing such a sight. So, I do want to do Marshall and employ hurricane pics within the re-edited version, showing maybe before and after, if possible. Remember though, folks, towns, they will recover. They may not rebound in the same way, but they will rebound. Yes, I do fear some might be too far gone, but hopefully we can work something out. This region, furthermore, folks, is not a climate haven. If you come here, do it for the resources we have, the mountains and the rivers, the national park, whatever. But understand, the kind of mountain terrain we have is conducive to flooding. Any development project should be taking that into consideration. With all of this said, be careful if you have waterfront property or any property on a floodplain for that matter. Never take the power of a river for granted. Know what it can do and work with it, not against it. Most river communities have watershed associations. The French Broad has Riverlink and the French Broad River Keeper, as well as others who might be concerned. Reach out to them if need be. Let me quote Riverlink here. It's been said that a river is like a report card we present to everyone downstream, communicating who we are and how we treat the land and our sphere of influence. Whether you visit a local stream frequently, or just catch sight as you drive across a bridge, how are you feeling about our grades this year? By the way, this building being ripped in half, it was the Asheville Tea Company, which at one time looked like this, and now the entire business is gone. So the situation here is dire, and this does need to be a warning call. And as far as Helene goes, Dr. Grande, you have a new perpetrator to cover.